Wrestling fans, the following contest, it is for 3 falls.
It is the Free Falls Podcast with your hosts, Sharpshooter Derek Schluter,
The best there is!
Matt Professor Pepper,
That's a spoiler!
and wrestling enthusiast Michael Punga.
And away we go.
1, 2, 3!
And welcome back to another episode of the Three Falls Podcast. This is Matt. And I have with me wrestling enthusiast, the sexiest man alive, and our official Romanian translator for Scarlett on NXT, Michael the athlete Punga. What's going on?
Oh, thanks for the intro, Matt. It's been a big week of wrestling. I'm ready to get diving right into it. But if they could give me that translator job for Scarlett, I would be top of the world. I'll tell you, that would be great. That would be amazing. Yeah. Apparently, I'm not the one with the computer issues this week. So it's just you and I for right now, I guess, huh?
Yeah. If anyone has a PC, they know how long these updates take.
Oh, Windows updates, man! I'll tell you, they drive me nuts.
So it does afford us ample time to bury Derek,
just a little
bit, because he kind of deserves it with all the pot shots he takes on here. But no, he will join in progress at some point, unless he's just watching wrestling and not telling us. He will join in progress at some point. So we took last week off. There was a lot of wrestling the week of WrestleMania. So we just kind of wanted to give a little breather so we could get through the weekend and record here.
Wrestling. Yeah.
There's a lot of wrestling. And
but I'm ready with my WrestleMania T-shirt. So I'm wearing the End of an Era T-shirt that we got in Miami there, Matt.
If you attend a WrestleMania, that that would be sacrilegious to not buy a T-shirt while you're there?
I think you need to. I mean, I've got WrestleMania 23 right here behind me, posted up. And I've only been to one other WrestleMania, lucky enough to go to 2. So I think it is. I think you need to get something from the event. If you don't, it's kind of like it's kind of a waste, Like, I think so, anyways.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. I bought a CM Punk shirt at that WrestleMania, and he was hot at the time. I want to see CM Punk shirts then, and it's kind of neat whenever you get to go to WrestleMania, wherever you are in that area. It's kind of like the carnival, where like the freak show comes to town, or they have their own area where they're not freaks because everyone else is there too.
Right, like
so you're amongst your people.
Definitely.
At WrestleMania. They're everywhere in that area. Everywhere you go, somebody's wearing a WrestleMania shirt. More than likely, people are cosplaying as wrestlers from the present or the past.
Yep.
You never know what you're going to see, but it's not uncommon. Actually, at any wrestling show, you usually could find someone cosplaying as a wrestler. I think there was at Night of Champions one time, and I seen a guy down the street as Macho Man Randy Savage, just walking down the streets of Detroit with the tassels and everything. No big deal.
Oh.
And the bigger anything that's a bigger show like WrestleMania, you'll see the Road Warriors, the Hart Foundation.
I don't remember if there was anybody.
Whatever.
I don't remember if there's anybody in Miami that we saw.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes. There was the at Fan Access. There was guys dressed like the Hart Foundation because Derek.
Oh,
had me take a
right.
pic for him. There was a bunch of different ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The info.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's it's hard in current times to get that because obviously you have to keep your distance from people and this WrestleMania, which we'll get into.
I can't
there
wait.
There was people at the show, which is the first time the WWE had like a large gathering for over a year.
Yeah.
So I don't think I saw any cosplayers in the crowd.
Not from what I saw, no.
But you never know what you're gonna get when you attend those shows.
There could have been cosplayers, Matt, but they might have had a rain jacket on. They had some inclement weather, which we'll get to as well. But there was inclement weather in Tampa that kind of delayed the night one. But other than that, yes, I do remember the Hart Foundation, and I think one other guy. Do you remember Detroit shows? And he would go to like house shows and stuff. Be the Hulk Hogan, the Hollywood Hogan, I think it was. Do you remember? Have you ever seen him?
Yeah. I do.
I remember that because I would get on and off the bus, he obviously lived in either Windsor or Ontario at some rate that he would get on the Transit Windsor bus with us, and on the way home, we would see him. But it's kind of cool to do that. But yeah, it was a big weekend for that. Kind of a bigger week for the backlash of no pun intended. For wrestling, the aftermath of WrestleMania, and but we have I think we have a little bit of news to get to first. You want to start with that?
Yeah. So there was definitely a thunderstorm that went over the WWE.
It usually happens around this time.
Every year after WrestleMania, the WWE releases talent. I believe they've been doing this consistently since the year 2000. So it's not a shock. It's kind of a regular thing. It's the talent that, for whatever reason, they don't need or feel like it's time to make a change. So we do have the list of the talent that was released this week. There's a number of names. So just before we get into that, obviously it's a tough day for the talents. They are paid for 90 days, and they have a no compete for the 90 days. So once their contracts are done, they're free to sign. I believe it's in June that they can sign with another company. They can do dates that aren't on TV, unfortunately. Really, there isn't anything out there right now.
There was a date, and I think from somebody, one of the releases had posted it, that they could work they could work after this date or whatever. But anyway, when I find it, I'll go ahead, Matt.
So we'll what I'd like to do, I just kind of want to go through each talent singularly, and discuss them a little bit, their career, what we think happened next. So I want to start with the bottom of the list.
Sure.
All right. So we can start with Wesley Blake. Wesley Blake.
This concerns me a little bit.
This talent has worst luck. I think some of the worst luck in the history of the company. Perennial tag team wrestler.
Yeah.
He was NXT tag team champion with Buddy Murphy.
Great talent.
Blake and Murphy. That was a pretty good tag team. Alexa Bliss was their manager. They got broken up. Buddy Murphy ended up going 205 Live. Just had a pretty good run in WWE for the most part. Wesley Blake, kind of on the sidelines for a while, trying to find something else for him. Then they had the pairing with the Forgotten Sons. So he was a partner with Steve Cutler and Jackson Riker. They were just starting to get their footing. They were doing NXT regular, and then they got called up to SmackDown. The team really got disbanded when Jackson Riker made some social media comments, essentially discrediting Black Lives Matter with the former U.S. presidential administration. I don't want to get too into the weeds on that, but he had major backlash and heat over that.
Well, I'm sure people know about that, and we'll leave it at that. But the
point of that, the reason I'm bringing it up is that essentially ended the Forgotten Sons, who had just got called up, and so that ended that run for them. Riker was taken off TV for quite a while, and by osmosis, so did Cutler and Blake. Now, to add insult to injury, Cutler and Blake were then paired with Baron Corbin as his knights, I believe, and then
I think that's what it was. Yeah,
Steve Cutler contracted COVID and got fired over not taking proper precautions over COVID. So that ended that run for him. And then he was in limbo, and he's part of this release. So I feel for him in the sense that it just was bad luck with things that his partners it wasn't anything he did, which is sometimes what happens. But
I feel like if they would have kept Blake and Murphy together and moved them onto SmackDown or something like that, maybe it worked out a little bit better. But I think at the time when they broke up, I think wasn't Murphy and Bliss having their relationship was kind of on the rocks as well. They were dating for a short time, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if that had anything to do with it. What I think happened was...
No, but what I'm saying is it kind of all broke down at that point. So if they would have kind of kept them together, moved them together, maybe Blake and Murphy would have survived.
I think they were planned on moving Buddy Murphy up, and I think that's what hurt that team. But I mean, the Forgotten Sons was a good unit, and it's unfortunate. We met Wesley Blake at WrestleMania 28. He was in Access, Fan Access. Derek and I, we talked about it on here before.
Yep.
He was sitting with Dory Funk Jr. I believe I don't know if he was a student of Dory's, but he was at Access at WrestleMania 28.
That's kind of cool. When you kind of see that, and they're not big or anything at the time, and you're there to see one guy, and so happens that one of his students, possible student maybe, was sitting right next to him, and got to meet him as well. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So the interesting talent that
Yep.
I don't know if we really got to see enough of. I don't know what the future holds for him because it's not like he had a ton of TV exposure. So, I mean, I would probably put him in the good hand category. Like he's just, I haven't seen enough of him to say if he's going to be anything more than a tag team guy or a good hand in the ring.
Right. You don't know, but I hope for his future endeavors. I hope that he does well. He might even take it to the indie circuit. You never know. So wherever he goes, I'm sure.
Yeah. He's a guy you could see maybe like a place like Impact or something that
definitely
he can go and kind of create his own new thing.
New story.
Yeah.
So
we'll move on from him.
Okay. Who else you got?
So next on the list is Mojo Rawley.
Oh, dang it. Gronk's going to be sad.
So, Mojo.
I have to say, Matt, I don't ever think that they gave him, 24/7 championship? Did they give him a title? I don't remember. Maybe U.S. title? Maybe? I don't even know. I think he may have held something other than the 24/7 championship. But I've always liked his charisma. I thought he was a decent, I thought he was a good worker. I think he's just under that another guy under an umbrella where, not being utilized.
Well, I mean, what do you, I don't know what you do with him per se. To me, he's a charisma guy.
Definitely.
And,
absolutely.
He's got a lot of that. He's like the party guy type personality. The biggest thing I remember them doing with him was he was teaming with Zack Ryder on NXT as the Hype Bros. And then they brought him up. I think he was on SmackDown, and they tried him as a heel.
Right.
And then he was hanging out with Gronk at last year's WrestleMania. I believe they were former teammates. But I don't know. He's a guy I don't really know if there's any. I don't know. He might be like a character charisma. I don't see like a huge upside on him.
So
he's mid-30s. I don't know if he made a lot of money in football. Like if he has to wrestle, I have no idea.
So just a little bit of a background on Mojo. He was a defensive lineman in the NFL.
Yeah.
Undrafted in 2009. He then got signed to the Green Bay Packers. Was there for a year, then went to the Arizona Cardinals, played with them, and then he was out of the NFL, I assume, after that, after 2 years. Now, as far as wrestling is concerned, he made it to, 111 on the PWI 500, which is not, obviously not great, but it's Mojo Rawley, right? 7-time 24/7 champion, but as you know, that thing's a carousel. He also won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I thought when he won that in 2017, do you remember when he won that? I thought they were going to give him a push. I thought
he was doing Gronk was in that, right? Wasn't
yes.
Gronk in that? Yeah,
I believe
that's
so.
Right. That's right.
That's the WrestleMania Gronk was at, and he got help from him and won it. And I thought, okay, maybe Gronk will do a little stint in the WWE. Maybe he'll help Mojo win a title, or maybe they'll win a tag team title or something like that, and get a little bit of a push. But they never did anything with it. The Ultimate Giant Battle Royal was just kind of like, okay, you won it. Okay.
I don't think that match has helped anybody.
No.
I remember the first one, the very first one, and Cesaro won it.
Yeah.
Where he picked up the Big Show and carried him to the ropes and tossed him out, and he was so over after that. But it, didn't really anything happen after that. But I don't think anybody really has benefited from it.
Talk about the Big Show. He won the second one.
Yep.
Baron Corbin won the third one. Mojo Rawley won the fourth. Matt Hardy and Braun Strowman. And then and obviously this year was Jey Uso. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the Battle Royal is kind of unfortunately, rather than Cesaro, it's kind of a jinx.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what.
He's a good charismatic talent. I think, again, Impact might like him. AEW might like to have him. He could be a manager for somebody. He might. Hey, Matt Cardona. There you go. Team him back up. Switch up his character. Team him back up with Zack Ryder. That he has contacts. I'm sure. He'll do well. But anything else you wanted to add on that, Matt?
I was just wondering. I'm just wondering what any company take a shot at Mojo. I don't know. With him. I mean, I don't know what you do with him. You could use him as a character guy, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. Hope, it's not like I don't want anybody to do anything. It's just when I look at what I've seen so far, I don't know what you do next, right?
No, for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we'll keep our eyes open. I mean, the good part is there's lots of places for a lot of these people to go, so we'll see.
So who's next on the list there, Matt?
We're gonna go to Bo Dallas next.
Ooh, now here's go ahead, Matt. I'll let you start with this because I started with Mojo. So.
Well, interesting. He hasn't wrestled since he hasn't done anything on the show since 2019.
2 years?
Really,
wow.
Almost. Yeah. He's real life girlfriend is Liv Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
They live on a farm. They're I don't know. It sounded like they're getting ready to prep for life after wrestling. So it sounded like he was already getting started with that.
Yeah, I believe. Now, don't quote me on this, but I'll look into it. But I believe they wanted to start a real estate company.
He could do that while being in wrestling, but if he wants to get it started, probably the time off is probably beneficial for him.
For sure.
Now, when I first started getting in NXT, or just getting out of his run there, he was NXT champion, and he was tremendous on that show. He was oblivious. The whole thing was about Bo leaving.
Yeah.
That gimmick was over. He did a good job with that. Then he did what was that group? Didn't
they turn him heel?
Social. What was that? Social. Anyway, they did that, and then him and Curtis Axel were Mrs. cronies,
right?
And
Curtis Axel.
So they were his cronies, and then all of a sudden they got over as this unlikely team was the B team, and they had that song. There's the rah rah song. That got over pretty good. It got killed off pretty quick, but
They did pretty well for what it is.
He was good in the ring. He had some charisma. Just didn't have anything for him. I think it's just time to move on. They must have been trying to do something with him if he was sitting at home for that long. That's a long time to be sitting at home doing nothing. So
Yeah.
I like that. That's crazy. So he's another guy. Probably when I look at the list, it's a lot of like good hands in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Not a ton of potential superstars. So, I mean, he's a guy you could see him work pretty much anywhere. I often, and we'll get to it for a couple of names from now. Like NWA is probably a good spot for some of these guys that don't get picked up by the other companies because they'll do short-term deals and they'll do something with them. Bo Dallas is a guy in that kind of that old school wrestling style. They could fit in on a show like that.
Well, he's got wrestling tenure too. Like he's got wrestling tenure behind him. His father, his grandfather, his uncles, and so I mean NWA might be Nick Aldis might say like, hey,
he looks for guys that are kind of overlooked so they can showcase them on the show.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, I mean, hey, I did enjoy watching a Believe thing, his gimmick with Believe. Him and Axel, yeah, you might say Axel, and they not very good, but I enjoyed that tag team. I'm glad to see they actually won some championship gold with that, because if they didn't, it was kind of a waste, I thought. But yeah, I hope he does get picked up by somebody. It's just who, like you said, good hand, right? But
that's the thing. I mean, I think one thing you have to put in perspective is the internet's always outraged when there's releases.
Right.
But how many of these people, if they're not using them, do you keep them on the show? Do you keep paying them? Right?
Yep.
When they could probably make money somewhere else. Why? Yeah, it's time to move on. We're gonna start. We go to the next one. You can start with this one. The next name on the list is Kalisto.
Ooh, Kalisto. Well, as part of he was part of the. I thought it was great talent. And he was part of the Lucha Party, was he not?
Lucha House Party. Yeah.
Lucha House Party. Like I mean, I really thought that was going somewhere. It was a neat little, good little Mexican tag team group. But again, look, if you look at the Lucha House Party, they weren't big. They weren't huge names. They didn't use them all the time. They actually stopped using them. What was it after the New Day? Them and the New Day were kind of going.
They've been on some of the shows, but then they feuding with each other, and like recently, Kalisto. I remember when he was on NXT.
Are you going to talk about Sin Cara? Are you going to mention his name?
Yeah. Well, that was the second version of Sin Cara.
That's true. That's true.
So they had the I don't know. They had a pretty good tag, but Kalisto, he had, when he came up, he had a lot of cool moves. People were really into him. The thing I didn't get was how he would have been perfect in like that cruiserweight title picture, but they never that I could think ever really used him at all for that title.
I mean, he won it one time.
Yeah, but it was like, to me, he probably could have been the focus of the show.
For
if
sure.
You got enough guys.
Are you talking about 205 Live?
Yeah.
Like 205 Live would have been great with him.
And they it's not that they didn't appear on the show, but it was always at the Lucha House Party. They never really. He did have some singles matches. Yeah.
But not enough. I mean, he really, I think the last time that I saw him in a singles match was maybe him and Xavier Woods. You know?
I mean, he's somebody, when things open up, you could see him working a lot of places. You could see him work in Mexico.
Oh yeah, he'll be back down in
for sure.
For sure.
You could see him. You could see him work in Mexico. Truthfully, you could see work in AEW. Just because of the style he has. You could see him. I could see him there. I could see him in Impact in the X Division.
That'd be kind of cool if they brought him into the X Division.
I think, I look at those companies. AEW, you could probably. I mean, they do have, Pentagon and Phoenix and that kind of talent. So he'll be working somewhere. That's somebody. Again, I said it already, but good hand. But he's
an actual talent. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on from him. The next one on the list is Tucker.
Oh, no way. Tucker.
So he is an accomplished amateur wrestler. So was Otis. So they were kind of a natural pairing. But it was, to me, pretty apparent when you'd see them together who had the charisma in that group or in that team, which was Otis. Otis was definitely the star of that team.
Definitely.
And and I'm not, here's the thing. When I talk about charisma, it's not necessarily just on the microphone. Body language, just how you react. Like, Otis has a lot of those larger-than-life qualities. Tucker, unfortunately, just seemed to be kind of there. But as a team, they were still pretty good. Now, they did the whole split where Tucker turned on him, helped screw him over with Mandy Rose and all that stuff. And after they did that, they had a little spat. Then Tucker really hardly ever on TV again. He was in Andre Battle Royal. So was Kalisto, actually. Yeah. He was in that. That's
So what I was gonna point out is that the last time I saw him on Raw, they started a new type of what do they call it? Blue chipper type gimmick. Would you call him a blue chip type gimmick where he wanted to prove himself? He had something to prove and no one was giving him a shot, and if that's not the definition, I apologize to anybody that's listening, but if you know what I'm trying to say, it was him and I believe Ricochet. It wasn't a bad match, singles match, but like I say, he wasn't on TV. He had ring rust from being off so long. They brought him back into this new gimmick, and then that was gone. He was done. He was, nothing worked. So Heavy Machinery worked. I could never understand why they broke them up.
Well,
besides the fact that Otis was more.
That's what it is.
More charismatic.
That's what it is.
Who cares? They were a tag team. Who cares? Yes, he was the bigger guy. Otis would have been the charismatic guy. Tucker would have been the muscle. That's how you work. It's heavy machinery. I never understood why they split them up. I think that was the worst decision because it didn't help Tucker at all. And quite frankly, it's not really. I mean, Otis is on TV more, but with Jack Gable, but
Yeah. So
I don't know, man.
Yeah. Clearly they saw potential in Otis and not in Tucker.
Right.
And I mean, I think the lack of charisma is what really hurt him. And if you follow him on Twitter, since he's been released yesterday, he's posted a lot of tweets, pictures, basically where he doesn't really care about anything. Like he's gonna tell his story one day. And he's got pictures of Otis, and then he put a picture of him on a golf course with a golf club and a joint in his mouth.
Oh, that's great.
And
that's awesome.
He was making tea or something. I was like, okay. So he's just doing whatever. As far as what he's gonna do next, I mean, Derek and I talked about it before. We thought maybe he could have been like a bodyguard type guy. Like he is a big guy, an imposing guy, and a legit tough guy. So you could probably do stuff like that. I personally don't see like a main event star or anything like that. Not to repeat myself, good hand. That's probably what you're getting there.
Yeah.
The next on the list.
No, I can't watch.
Chelsea
Green?
Chelsea Green.
Okay, so, well, she's attached to Zack Ryder.
Mm-hmm.
Or Macadona. I believe they're engaged. Am I wrong on that one? No, they did.
That is correct. They did
do that. Okay. So, here's another one with bad luck. Every time she comes back from an injury, it seems like she gets hurt again and gets pushed that farther back. I think the worst one where she broke her, what was it? The most recent one, she broke her forearm or something? Or social media wise, I saw that. I don't know.
She's had a string of
injuries.
Bad luck, yeah.
String of bad luck is definitely, yeah. I don't see her going back into the business. I think she might just follow Zack Ryder maybe. I know she lives and resides in Florida, so
I don't think she's done.
You don't think she's done? Okay. I mean, I know she has the motivation. I'm not saying it's impossible.
I don't think she's done. I don't see I sound bad. I don't see the same amount of appeal as other people do. I think her biggest thing was that whole Laurel Van Ness thing in Impact where she was the crazy bride. Okay. I look at her like this good hand again, but I think I'm going to make a comparison, but it's not the exact same, but I compare her a little bit to Eva Lise. We talked about her last time we were on.
Right.
Eva Lise got a lot of attention by being on Lucha Underground, working with the top male wrestlers that could do all the moves, selling for her. And I think that really put her on the map. That's really, in my opinion, where she took off. honestly,
I thought you were gonna say she has character issues like Eva Lee.
oh
but...
no.
No, I know
just,
I know it now, but
that to me, Lucha Underground, I know it has a cult following, but they had a big problem with how it was produced, portraying the talent. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a problem per se, but they really made a lot of I don't want to say lesser talent, but less experienced talent look better than they are, which is a testament to the people that worked with them.
Right.
Because really, she spent a lot of time in NXT, but I know she had some injuries. But I wouldn't say she was on TV like a ton either.
No.
So no, but she'll work somewhere. I guarantee she'll work somewhere.
I'm gonna take a guess, and I'm gonna take a stab, and say AEW. It is in Florida. She resides in Florida. It's not too far. I think as well. Matt Cardona is there, so it makes sense. There is room for her to do something. So, best of luck to her. I hope the bad luck turns around for sure.
I see you're signing with AEW because they're looking for more women's wrestlers for sure.
Oh, for sure. And
I could see the Impact one too. She has been there before. She's really good friends with Deonna Purrazzo. They were a team that never got to really do anything on NXT.
Mm-hmm. So
there's that. I would say one of those two companies in terms of like the women's divisions.
Right.
That's where that's what I would see.
For sure. All right. So Chelsea Green. So who's next on the list there? I'd hate to ask.
All right. This is one of the big fish.
Okay.
And this is an interesting one. So Mickie James.
Oh my God.
Right,
well.
So yeah. I have a pretty good idea what will happen with this one, but
okay. Well, I have to say, she's always been that. I could say that she's been that loyal person, backstage type of backstage personality. As far as just not being on TV and still being part of the show type of deal, if that makes sense. I've always liked Mickie James. I thought she was, she was good talent. They brought her in for like the Women's Royal Rumble, and they brought her back from somewhere, I believe. I'm just not picturing it right now, but yeah, this is definitely a big one. Matt, you were gonna break some news there. I'm sorry. Why do you think this happened?
Why did I think it happened? Probably, unfortunately, they probably viewed her like aging out in the company. If I had to guess, she's in her early 40s. She still looks like great. She does not look 40.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't.
She's still a good wrestler. She's charismatic. I mean, while she was injured, they did have her doing commentary on I think it was Main Event, so she got experience doing that. She came back to the company, I don't know, it was 2016, I believe. I was at TakeOver Toronto when they brought her in to wrestle Asuka.
Okay.
They used her sparingly on Raw. She's a really good talent. Obviously she's done commentary now, so you can use her in a variety of roles, really.
Right.
But in any locker room would want her as a veteran talent to work with the green talent, younger
Definitely.
talent that would be on the roster. I'm gonna say this: she could probably go to any company. I would almost guarantee that.
Yep.
But since her husband is the real world's champion, I would think she would at least make some appearances on NWA Power.
You know what, Matt? I think you hit it. Do they have a small women's division, or I'm not familiar?
Yeah. They.
She could probably do something with them and help maybe get talent for it, help it, become.
I think the thing is, I guess it depends on what they want to do with that division.
Fair enough.
It depends what she wants to do, right? I mean, they're a couple. They have a young child, so that might work out better for them. Now, if I were AEW, I would probably back the Brinks truck up because she's the exact type of talent you want with that roster.
AEW? For sure. 100%. And I don't think Aldis would be sour on that note. Like, I think he'd be like, no, please go. Yeah, do it. You know what you're doing. And she could work.
Again, go ahead, Punga. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, even if she's not in-ring in AEW, like Beth Phoenix does in WWE, she can also, and like she's done at Main Event, she can also commentate and work over, and work on the commentator as a commentator for women's matches. And maybe that'll give a little flow so you have a different voice in your ear when you're watching these women's matches. Maybe it'll hype it up a little bit, So that's definitely a good point.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of possibilities for her. She's a veteran talent. Any company should pursue that.
Yeah.
That talent for their rock.
I bet you her phone has been ringing
outside the ring. Well, she can't do anything till June, right?
So, no, I know, but nothing to say that phone hasn't been ringing,
Yeah. All right, we'll move on.
Okay, who's next?
Peyton Royce and Billy Kay.
The Iconics.
Iconic.
Well, okay. I'm just gonna start. Here's another like waste of talent. Charismatic. At least, I mean, I don't think they're horrible in ring. They're not horrible. Okay, there are worse female wrestlers out there than these two. I like these two. I think, a little bad luck, a little bit of booking issues. Like I remember, what was it on? Just recently, Peyton Royce literally made like a promo, cut a promo, saying she wants Asuka, and yet she got her on Raw. Yeah, she lost, but she got her match. Whether that was a work, shoot, whatever, I don't care. But after they broke up the Iconics, I think they've never been the same. But even Billie Kay made it work with her resume, resume gimmick. Hey, hire me. I'll work with you. And who did she? It was Billie Kay and who was she just teaming with, Matt? At Mania.
Billie Kay?
Yeah. Who did she?
She's team Carmella.
Oh, Carmella. Like right there, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they're gonna use her again, you know? No. Let them both go. I think they both end up together. I think they both end up more than likely in AEW. That's my guess. I don't see AEW passing on either one of them. I know we've said AEW a lot so far, but that is the next step,
Yeah.
right? That is the next company.
I think we gotta we have to put in perspective. AEW cannot sign everybody.
No, I'm not saying they're going to go out and sign everybody, but
it makes. I wonder. I mean, we're jumping a little bit, but it makes me wonder if like AEW has so many people under contract already that they don't feature. I wonder when they can't sign all these people. Like they're just gonna have like, I don't know. It's interesting, but anyway, I don't want to get too into the weeds on that. But the Iconics, they're entertaining as a team. They have a lot of charisma. They're comedic. They're annoying in a heel way, an entertaining heel way, but they can still kind of get heat because their voices are so over the top. Truthfully, like, and I don't mean to knock them, but they're not good in the ring. They're really not that good in the ring. And I enjoy Billie Kay, but she is below average. And Peyton's a little bit better in the ring, but Billie Kay is not good in the ring, and that was really evident on WrestleMania. She's a good character. She is comedic. You can do a lot of stuff with her on the show, but those two need to be in a team to hide their weaknesses as singles wrestlers.
Well, okay. I'm gonna just argue this for 1 second.
All right.
You know, and hear me out. You know,
Okay.
they should have done the same. Whatever they did with the Riot Squad is what they should have done with the Iconics. Because what I saw at Mania between the Iconic two girls, right? Or, well, Peyton unfortunately wasn't there, but you know what I'm saying. What I saw with Billie Kay, what I saw with the Riot Squad improved. I don't know how much you think they improved, but I think they improved from in their match, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, I agree. Billie Kay wasn't the cleanest. She wasn't the most technical. You know, I think what got them over is being over the top, loud, being over the top,
right,
boisterous, like, you know. The accents helped. The accents helped quite a bit.
They're good characters. That's the thing.
Yes, but if they would have, if Natty or somebody would have taken the time with these people,
I think she has. I think Natty works with all those girls. Her and TJ. They especially TJ Wilson. Like I think he's the main women's producer. So they work with all those girls. But anyway, I don't want to say that they don't have a place in wrestling. I don't want to say that they can't do anything in the business. All I'm saying is, if you were looking at long term, like, I mean, how long? I mean, they broke them up too soon, but I don't know. You could probably get a couple years of them as a team, especially now that you can reunite them somewhere. I don't see the long-term money in them, especially if you're going singles for sure. I don't see that at all.
You'd have to put them back together. It's pretty much what you put them as
a team.
Yeah,
and you keep it short. That's how I would book them personally. Now I would worry in a sense seeing them on a place like AEW, where they have some weirdly produced matches where there's people on television that
Maybe
really
Impact.
don't know what they're. Impact probably would work a little better. They do have a lot of better production in terms of the in-ring matches,
Right.
just in terms of making more sense. AEW, I mean, they have people on live TV that I don't know how that airs on TV sometimes, but to make a long story short, the money is signing them together and doing that reuniting of them as a team.
Oh, yes, for sure.
And again, as characters, yes, you can do something with them. People would be excited to see them. But yeah, I think the biggest mistake WWE made was trying to push them both as singles wrestlers. They didn't stick. They ended up putting them both in different teams. And Peyton kind of got... She was a victim of Padlock too, because she was teaming with Lacey Evans.
Yeah.
Right, and then she's gone. She's pregnant. She's off TV. Billie Kay, the resume gimmick I liked. I thought that was pretty funny. She's always trying to fit in with all the other talents. I had to guess, and we will talk about it. But that Gauntlet women's match was tag match was not good. Not at all. It was one of the worst matches I've ever seen at WrestleMania. I wonder if that was a catalyst for letting her go.
I'm pretty sure I found a comment through our chats together. If I could go back and look at it, those were your exact words.
Those were definitely my
verbatim. Like, this is the worst WrestleMania.
Well, the match, yeah, it was not good.
But anyways,
we got one more. We got one more.
Oh no, come on.
We got one more, and that's the big fish. So Samoa Joe was released.
Dang. Well, that makes sense because he got replaced by that ESPN analyst on Raw.
Well, Joe wasn't the play-by-play guy.
No,
they shifted the commentary team. They brought in Adnan Burke, who I used to watch on Sportsnet in Canada.
He got fired.
He got fired from ESPN for allegedly leaking information or something. I don't quite
Leave it
know.
to ESPN.
Well, they got a lot of heat with a lot of people, but that's a whole other story. So so what they did, they shifted the commentary team, and Corey Graves is on Raw now.
Yep.
So Joe got shifted out of that, but anyway, Joe had been doing commentary for well over a year, I would say, on Raw, and he's been out of the ring. He's had a lot of injuries. Apparently, he wasn't cleared to wrestle. So I don't know if there's some major health issues there. Yeah, Mick Foley put something up that he knew that Joe had some concussion issues. So I don't know if that's what that was. Joe did an interview last month. I don't know if it's I think it's Sports Illustrated.
Okay.
Talking about his health and stuff and how he didn't think his in-ring career was done, but the pandemic wasn't helping because there's certain specialists he can't see and things like that, and it's making it harder.
That sucks.
So they don't have all the details on Joe Was Released right now. But the good part for him is he's got a year of commentary experience on Raw. So worst case scenario, if he doesn't wrestle again or he wrestles like limited schedule or whatever, he has a full year of live television commentary.
He does.
I mean,
He wasn't
to me,
horrible either. Like
no,
he was
good.
He was good.
It's good. So I mean, inadvertently, he's built a career, like a post in ring career, in my opinion, that he can use. Now, I don't know the status of his health. I would think he would be the most sought after free agent if he can wrestle.
I think. Can I give you? Can I?
Yeah,
You know,
go ahead.
I think the where he goes, I think he goes back to Impact. God knows they probably need a commentator or two. Okay. However, his history is all back there. You know, I mean, I remember for the most part. I mean, I know Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Right. I know Ring of Honor. But
I was just gonna say Ring of Honor.
I don't know if here. I remember him in Ring of Honor, but not as much as TNA. Like I remember Impact being where I kind of like grew into the Samoa Joe world. You know, this guy was a submission machine. He was just excellent. I mean, the matches, and you know, if we ever do a match review again, I'd love to do some on the Styles Joe Daniels feuds.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite stuff.
Triple threat match. The triple threat match from I'm trying to think what the pay-per-view is. It's probably one of the best triple threats that's ever been on wrestling. Ever.
Yeah. And I'll have to go and look it up. But again, but you know, I think maybe Impact, you know, would welcome him back for sure, even if it is a part-time in-ring stint. You know, you never know. He could do some commentary. He could do managing. You know, managing the next submission machine type of deal. You know, who knows? Student teacher type of deal. But it's sad to see him go. I mean, was it Royal Rumble that he debuted, or was it Raw? I'm trying to remember now, Matt.
I just remember he debuted on NXT.
That's right. He was the NXT champion. That's right.
And another guy I saw at Takeover Toronto, he wrestled Nakamura. But before that, I seen one of his last indie dates before he signed. Like he just started to do appearances on NXT, and I think he signed because he had some weird deal where he could do appearances. I don't know, but anyway, he officially signed, and I went to a Smash Wrestling show in Toronto, and he wrestled Chris Hero, and that was
man,
that was unbelievable. Anyway, he as far as where he goes, I could see him in almost any company. You know, Impact, I could see him doing a couple things there. Ring of Honor, I actually could see because they brought that whole Pure Wrestling title back. He was the pure champion at one time. That might be a style that's not as abusive. It's very technical. So that's, I mean, I could see that. He's got history with that. Obviously AEW would probably want to sign him. He's got a lot of star power. He can have those banger matches on that show if he's healthy. Maybe do some commentary. Another spot, New Japan. I could see New Japan
going back to New Japan.
He's got that hard-hitting style. Whether he wants to do that at this stage, I don't know. But there would be some matches there with like Okada, Tanahashi, like guys like that. I mean,
isn't Jay White over there now?
Yep.
And he went back.
I could see that happening.
That could be something he might consider if he gets the okay from any of these doctors.
I would say this: he's 42, so to me, as he should, and as any talent should, at this stage, take the biggest money deal you can get.
There you go. If you're listening, Joe, there you are.
And I'm sure he knows that, but take the biggest money deal you can, especially if you're going to wrestle, because you don't know how many more years you got in the ring. It's what Jim Ross always says. There's 2 C's in wrestling. There's cash and creative, and usually somebody's either if they're happy they have both. If they're unhappy, it's one or the other, or both. But he should take as much money as he can. Whoever's going to pay him, even if he freelances, like he doesn't sign the agreement and just works different companies. And again, and then I'd be remiss to say this too. I would love to see him on NWA as well. I'd love to see him and Nick Aldis. I think that would be awesome too. But he's going to have his suitors. Like, there's going to be every company
lining up for him.
Sure. Now, just to be fair, like we went down that list. I don't see many big future budding stars out of that list. But
no,
I'd say he and Mickie James are the 2 that would be the most beneficial to any company. So, get that money.
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree to a point. I think Kalisto would be a one guy that could be beneficial in a cruiserweight role to one of the other companies. So I'm gonna say Kalisto as well. But
all right, let's do a couple quick hits so we can end this before next week. So came out today that Mauro Ranaullo is going to be a guest commentator on Impact Wrestling for the pay-per-view main event, title versus title between Omega and Rich Swann. Mauro has not done anything in wrestling since leaving NXT. He's obviously probably one of the most animated and eccentric announcers of all time. I love his work. I thought this came out of left field for him to do a one-off with Impact. It does add some like a big fight feel. I wasn't feeling that this match was. They don't even talk about it. They don't even talk about it on Dynamite.
Well, we'll get to that.
They don't even talk about it anyway. But the it does add a little bit of interest and intrigue to the match.
It does. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it does add intrigue to the match because, people know. I mean, people that watch Impact or AEW or WWE, like people that have watched NXT, that watches kind of a broad range of wrestling nowadays, would know who Mauro Ranaullo is. I mean, and it does give the commentating team there a little bit of a boost as well. I know he's only calling the one match, right? But it's going to give it that much of a hype, because if you remember him from NXT, if you remember him from wherever, you're gonna tune in. This is a rating boost right here, Not to mention the match should be pretty good with Swann and Omega, but that's all I was gonna say.
Well, I don't know about that part. I hope so, but most of Omega's matches are snooze fests for me. But
Hey! I'm not Derek. I'm not gonna crap on you for all these comments. So just.
I'm a fan of Rich Swann.
I am too. I respect what he's doing.
Not a fan of Omega, but I'm a Mauro fan. I think he's tremendous.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe
It's good to
Renee.
hear.
Oh, I was just gonna say him and Renee came in at the same time, correct? I believe him and Renee Young to WWE.
Not at the same time, no.
No,
Renee was there
before that. Anyway.
No, I just wanted to mention that 'cause I like Mauro. I'm a big fan of him. If any, we kind of brought it up on here before, but if anybody's interested, he's got a really awesome documentary out there. The Bipolar Rock and Roller. It's an excellent documentary. I recommend anybody watch that. And just the last tidbit, SmackDown has a new color commentator. Mike Punga's absolute favorite, Pat McAfee.
Woo! SmackDown just got fiery. I'm fired up. I'm fired up. We're gonna rank Friday Night SmackDown now. We're gonna see how he does.
So he as a reporter, his first night on SmackDown, I did catch the beginning of SmackDown. He was pretty good on it. The good part with him is he is very witty. He is very comical. He does have good timing. He does do a TV radio show like every day, so he does have a lot of. He knows how to talk to the camera.
Oh, absolutely.
He knows how to talk to people.
One thing that I thought of when I read that was, if I'm not mistaken, Adam Cole might be headed to the main roster, and if he is, I'm not saying he is, but if he does, do you think maybe that could be a place for them to rekindle that, storyline, or is it dead?
I don't.
It's kind of a thought that I had.
Mean,
I'm like, interesting.
It's possible because it's a bigger audience on SmackDown. That's the highest rated wrestling show right now by far, SmackDown. So,
for many reasons.
you could get a lot of attention mainstream wise if you have Pat McAfee on that show that airs on Fox, airs on terrestrial TV. So a lot more people have access to that show. So right. that is a possibility. Hey, there's a lot you can do with Pat. He can talk. He can talk all day. The good part is with him on commentary. Let's face it. Let's be honest. He doesn't need this job if he doesn't want it. No, right? So
he's a wrestling fan. That's why he's taking his job.
But he's also, I would also say he's fiscally
responsible.
He has money. So he doesn't need to do this job. So which to me makes it perfect for that role, because you could probably try to produce him all day. He's going to do his own thing. And I think that is exactly what they need on commentary. So I think it's a good fit. I think he's going to do well. If they do Adam Cole with him on SmackDown,
yeah.
Hey, you know what? They had a pretty good run on NXT together. So time will tell. I think. Anyway, it's
all right.
SmackDown's been the best wrestling show for the past several months. So I am interested that they made that change, and we'll see what happens going forward.
Definitely. So
Yeah. So follow us on all social media at Three Films Podcast. Subscribe, leave a review, send us a shout out. If you want us to do anything on the show within reason, let us know. And we'll be back next week for our regularly scheduled programming. And that's it. For Punga, for Derek, who's still updating his computer, and I'm Matt, so we'll see you next time.
Later.
Goodbye and good night.